day, so I will make it quick so that it's quite enjoyable and you also get to learn something uh, about one in silico methodology. Just a minute. Okay, so what is molecular docking? I think many of you might have an idea. Now, if you look at the definition for molecular docking, it is basically a computational technique which samples conformations of small molecules inside the active site of a receptor or a protein. And also it has some scoring function which will assess the quality of this conformation achieved by the molecule inside the receptor. But in general terms, molecular docking is an attempt to predict the structure of intermolecular complex between two molecules, and one molecule among them will be a protein, the other may be a ligand, the other may be a substrate, or the other may be DNA or RNA, and the other molecule may be even a protein, so which you call as protein-protein docking. Now, protein ligand docking is an important technique in structure-based drug design, where you use the structural information to design new ligands for your target protein, and it basically mimics the binding of the ligand to a protein. Okay, so in molecular docking, the docking algorithm mimics the binding of a ligand to a protein, and also it predicts the pose of the molecule inside the active site or in the binding site. Okay, and also it gives an estimate which you call a score, which gives an idea about the binding affinity of the ligand to the target protein. Okay, now what is a pose and what is a binding site? Binding site, you know, it is the site at which a ligand will bind in the target protein. So basically it will be a cavity. Okay, and one can easily identify the binding site by looking into a crystal structure, especially if the crystal structure has a co-complex ligand. Okay, so wherever you find the co-complex ligand, that will be the active site or that will be the binding site. Now, what is the pose of the molecule? Docking pose or pose of the molecule is nothing but the geometry of the ligand of the molecule. By geometry, you mean that the location, orientation, and conformation of the molecule. Okay, and sometimes protein ligand docking is also used for identifying the binding site. If the knowledge of the binding site is not known, then you can perform blind docking to ascertain the approximate binding site of your ligand in the protein. Okay, now molecular docking is basically useful for in two steps in the drug discovery process. One is the hit identification or lead identification process. Basically, you can do virtual screening using molecular docking to identify a new hit molecule, which can be then developed into a lead molecule. And then it is also useful in the lead optimization of the drug discovery process. Okay, now the main use, as I told you, that virtual screening, in which you can replace in silico screening using molecular docking to replace experimentally done high throughput screening, which is quite expensive, which is time consuming. In virtual screening, you basically screen a library of compounds against your target protein of interest in silico. Okay, and also the second main important use of the protein ligand docking is post prediction. Now, what do you get, or what information do you get from this post prediction? Now, you can get exactly where and how the ligand binds to the protein, from which you can understand which are the parts in the ligand which is important for the binding, and which parts could be modified to increase the binding affinity, and also which are the areas one should not modify or one should not manipulate, because it may lead to a decreased binding affinity due to steric clashes. Okay, now these are some new and novel applications of protein ligand docking. We have already seen that ligand target binding rationalization, and we have also seen virtual screening. Now, target fishing or profiling is a new application wherein you can predict a target for an active compound using molecular docking. Basically, you are trying to identify that what is the target for your active molecule. And also it is also useful for prediction of adverse drug reactions. Like if through molecular docking, you can also find out whether there are off targets for your ligand. So these off targets may ultimately contribute to the adverse drug reactions. Other than that, it is also useful in polypharmacology, where you can rationally design a single ligand molecule which can bind with multiple targets, or which can simultaneously modulate a set of targets in some complex diseases like cancer, Alzheimer's. And the most important one, which has been recently useful, is the drug repositioning, wherein you can identify new therapeutic targets for your already existing drug. Like, for example, hydroxychloroquine was repositioned as an anti-COVID drug, not through molecular docking, but it was through some sort of empirical observation. Now, any docking software will have two components. One will be the search algorithm, the other will be the scoring function. Now, what is this search? What is the function of this search algorithm? Is to generate large number of poses, which means that it should produce a large number of poses for a ligand, and ultimately it should evaluate those poses to find out the most accurate pose or most suitable pose. So for the evaluation, there will be another component which is called scoring function. Now it calculates a score or binding affinity. This score is nothing but represents a binding affinity of the ligand to the target protein or at the active site. Okay, so basically search algorithm to give the pose of the molecule, and the scoring function to give an estimate of the strength of binding of the ligand molecule in the active site. Okay, now there are several docking programs which are available. Some of them are also available free. For example, Autodock, Dock, and Fred. It is also open source software. And Autodock, Veena, all these softwares are several docking algorithms are available, and each of these docking algorithm uses different methodologies to find out or to explore the poses inside the active site. And they also use different scoring functions which is used to estimate the quality of fit inside the binding site. Okay, now although molecular docking may seem easy, but it is quite difficult, because what exactly you are looking for is the you are exploring the conformational space to find out the best fit conformation of a ligand molecule in a particular environment. And what is that environment? That environment is your active site. So it involves many degrees of freedom. One is translation. Translation is nothing but movement of the ligand within the active site. Rotational freedom, which means the rotation of the molecule within the active site. And the third one is conformational degrees of freedom. Now, what is conformational degrees of freedom? The number of conformational poses which has to be generated inside the active site to find out the best fit conformation. Okay, so this is the most complex part of molecular docking. Okay, since the number of conformations is dependent upon the number of rotatable bonds in a molecule, so the higher the number, the more will be the conformation. So that's why most of the drugs are rigid structures. Okay, and in reality, if you look at it, solvent plays a very important role in the ligand protein binding through entropic contributions. But most of the currently available docking algorithms ignore this the role of solvents, because it will make the docking process more complex. Okay, now the search algorithm generates poses, orientation, and of particular conformation of the molecule inside the active site. So what exactly it does is it does conformational sampling. Some of them does conformational sampling Basically, the idea is to find out the correct pose or correct conformation or the bioactive conformation of the ligand molecule inside the active site. And I told you that it's quite complex process and it is very time consuming. So if you go systematically, it will take a lot of time. So they look for some alternative approaches whereas you can reach those optimum solution with minimal time period. Okay. Now, conformations, you must be having anyone with basic knowledge of organic chemistry know what is a conformation. Now, it is like those molecules which differ only in the orientation of the groups in the three-dimensional space. Basically, it means that in between conformers, they will have the same bond length and angle, but they differ only the torsional angle. And each incremental rotation of the torsional angle will lead to generation of a new conformation. And the greater the number of rotatable bonds, the greater the number of conformations. And basically, docking looks for bioactive conformation, not the lowest energy conformation. Now, bioactive conformation is the conformation achieved by the ligand inside the active site, and it shows shape complementarity and group complementarity, and it shows the best fit in the active site. Now, there are various search algorithms, and it can be classified according to the degrees of freedom. I told you that there are 3 degrees of freedom: translational, rotational, and conformational. Okay. So based on this, it can be classified into 3 types. One is rigid body docking process. Now, which rigid body docking ignores the flexibility of molecules, which means that it will not consider the conformational space or conformational degrees of freedom. It only considers translational and rotational, which means that it treats both protein and ligand as a rigid structure. In rigid receptor and flexible docking, you give the ligand is treated as flexible, but the receptor is treated rigid. And this is the most common method used in the molecular docking process. Now, flexible receptor and flexible ligand docking, in which we consider both the protein and ligand as flexible, but you have to appreciate this fact that the greater the flexibility of the components involved in the docking process, the greater the flexibility, the greater the complexity. Because protein is a macromolecule, it will be having n number of rotational bonds. So ultimately, it will be computationally very, very, very time consuming and expensive. Okay, now let us see each type of docking in detail. The first one is rigid docking. As I told you, the ligand is treated as a rigid structure, and also the protein is treated as a rigid structure. So only the translational movement of the ligand inside the active site and rotation of the ligand in the active site is considered. So, but you know that ligand is flexible in reality. In reality, if you look at it, both protein and ligand are flexible, but the flexibility of ligand is quite important. Okay, so to deal with this problem, what we can do is, you can, instead of conformational sampling of the ligand inside the active site, you generate large number of conformation of the ligands and then perform docking while considering it as a rigid entity. Okay, now this has its advantage because among all the docking types of docking, this is quite rapid, it's quite quick. And one example is FRED, which is fast rigid exhaustive docking algorithm implemented in a software called OpenEye. And also DOCK, one of the earliest docking program, employs this method. Flexible docking. Now, this is the most common form of docking. Almost 90% of your softwares will use flexible docking procedure. Okay, in which in flexible docking, what you consider the ligand as a flexible entity. So you do conformational sampling inside the active site, and the conformations of the ligand are generated on the fly. You place the ligand and you do conformational sampling. Okay, and as I told you that the number of conformations generated is dependent upon the number of rotatable bonds in the active site. So the greater the number of rotatable bonds, then the greater the number of the greater the number of conformations. So it may even lead to a combinatorial explosion sort of thing. So if you do this procedure, conformational sampling systematically, it will be very, very time consuming, and you require a lot. You have to cover a large search space, conformational space to get accurate results. So one common method is to use a stochastic instead of systematic approach. Now, this stochastic has a degree of randomness in it, but although they do not guarantee that the solution which is obtained, or the posts which are finalized or which are selected in this method is optimum solution, but it is almost near optimum, which means that it is almost quite agreeable compared with the optimum solution, and the time taken for achieving the solution is quite reasonable. Okay. So I said that stochastic means they incorporate a degree of randomness, which means that you start up with a random number of conformations in the beginning, and you along the way you just refine those conformations to find out the best fit conformations. Now, two algorithms which is basically used is genetic algorithm, which is implemented in docking software Gold Autodock, and also simulated annealing algorithm, which is implemented in the Autodock. Now let us see what is genetic algorithm and what is simulated annealing. Now, genetic algorithm is dependent upon the Darwinian evolution theory. Now, what is Darwinian evolutionary theory? For example, at any time, a population will have a random number of people. In this case, we start up with a random number of poses, and you score those poses, and you identify the top scoring poses. Now, what you do is you do recombination. Recombination is nothing but reproduction. You combine the best traits of one pose with another pose and come up with a new pose. Now, these are progeny. Progeny are children. Okay. Likewise, in a human population, a population will marry and then give offsprings. Okay, or produce offsprings. So this is one way of coming up with the poses, and each pose will be evaluated. Here also, the offsprings or the children will be evaluated by means of the scoring function, and those offsprings are those offsprings which are having high score will be retained, and the rest will be eliminated. Other than that, we can also randomly mutate. Mutate means we can change the torsional angle, or we can change the conformation. It also has a degree of randomness in that, with random mutations, which means that you make some changes, and also you also look for you also evaluate it using a scoring function, and if it is fit, then you keep it, otherwise you discard it. Okay. So ultimately, a sequence of these recombination and random mutations will lead to a population of high scoring poses, and the final set will be high scoring poses, and out of which you can easily identify the optimal pose. Now, this is the genetic algorithm method. Now, in flexible docking there is also another method which is called as incremental construction method, which is used in docking software called FlexX, in which the molecule is fragmented or broken down into fragments, and those larger fragments or base fragments are docked inside the active site, and then the best fit or the best docked on the basis of scoring function will be taken as an anchor, or will act as an anchor for the systematic conformational analysis. Now you can see that you take up a base fragment, and then you start incrementally constructing. For example, next group is constructed, and then third group is added, and in some cases you will end up out of all these constructions, you will take different base fragments and you will end up with different conformations. Okay, so the best fit conformations will be retained and evaluated on the basis of scoring function, and you will get an optimal binding pose. Now, since we are considering proteins as rigid structures, do they act rigid in the reality? It's not so, because it is known that proteins also exhibit a degree of flexibility, especially it is flexible enough to accommodate larger ligands, accommodate larger ligands and a different set of ligands. You can see that COX-2 have multiple inhibitors, and it is accommodating all those ligands inside its active site. Now, this phenomenon is also called as ligand-induced fit. So, although we consider protein as rigid, it is not so in reality. So some docking search algorithms also provides an opportunity to consider protein side chain flexibility, which means that it allows the flexibility of some identified side chains, which means that they are allowed to undergo torsional rotation again around acyclic bonds. Now, this can enhance the accuracy of the docking studies. Okay. Now, if you still want to consider protein flexibility in your docking process, the best way is to use multiple conformation or consensus docking. What we call is, like, you use multiple conformations of your protein, and you find out those ligands which can bind with those multiple conformations of the protein. So this is a reasonable way to incorporate protein flexibility in your docking process. Okay. Now, just like search algorithm is important, scoring function is also important. Now, the perfect scoring function should be able to accurately calculate the binding affinity. Now, what do you mean by accurately calculate the binding affinity? Okay, so the scoring function should give high score. Okay, which means that high score to the actives and low score to the inactives. Okay, and within the actives, for example, there may be some molecule which is having 5 micromolar potency against a particular target. Okay, and some molecule with 1 micromolar potency, and among the actives, both are actives, because if it is a good lead molecule if it is having a binding affinity less than 10 micromolar concentration. So it should rank the 1 micromolar, the binding affinity for 1 micromolar potent compound is higher. So the score should be higher for this compound than the 5 micromolar compound. So it should be able to differentiate within the actives as per their binding affinity. So the perfect scoring function should do that. Okay, and also especially most of the times molecular docking process is used in high throughput virtual screening. So it should be able to identify actives and also inactives, which means that actives should be scored high than the inactives, especially in a virtual screening. And other than that, and there may be multiple poses for the same ligand. Now, the scoring function should also accurately should score high the correct pose of the active rather than the incorrect pose. Okay, which means that whatever pose you are, because you are selecting the pose on the basis of scoring function. So whatever pose you have selected should have a high score, or the correct pose should have the high score. Okay, which means that your docking is giving a reasonable prediction of the complex. Okay, now scoring functions can be divided into 3 types. One is force field based, and another is empirical. Third is knowledge based potentials. Now, force field based is based on the terms derived from molecular mechanics based force fields. Gold score and dark score is an example for force field based scoring function. Empirical is empirically, which means that the binding affinity is parameterized against experimental binding affinities, which means that you randomly consider those parameters which are important for a protein ligand binding. Examples for this is chem score and glide score. Knowledge based potential is dependent upon the experimentally derived pairwise preferences, which means that the complementarity between 2 points, hydrogen bond acceptor and a hydrogen bond donor, such things which are experimentally derived are incorporated. Okay, potential mean force, drug score as one example, are examples of knowledge based scoring functions. Now let us see each individual scoring function. Like I told you, force field based scoring function, it assesses the binding energy by calculating the non-bonded interactions between the ligand and the protein or target. Okay, and these non-bonded interactions can be of two types. One is van der Waals interactions, which is derived from which is represented by Lennard-Jones potential, and electrostatic interaction, which is represented by Coulombic functions. But force field based scoring functions do not consider solvation or entropic terms. This is one of the limitation of the force field based scoring function. Now, example for force field scoring function, force field based scoring function is gold score and dock score. Okay, and empirical scoring function. Now, you know what are all the factors which is relevant for binding. For example, hydrogen bond interactions, ionic interactions, hydrophobic interactions, entropic binding entropy. All these components will be represented by some parameters. Okay, and these parameter will be given a coefficient, and this coefficient is calculated from the experimentally determined complexes. Okay. Now, basically what you are trying to do is you are trying to reproduce experimental data, which is the binding affinity, okay, in terms of approximated sum of individual uncorrelated terms. Now, what is this uncorrelated terms like hydrogen bonding interaction, ionic interactions, hydrophobic effects, binding entropy, all these things. Okay. Now, this is quite easy to compute, and this has been shown to reasonably work well, and it can be used for larger. It is quite. It can be used for used in several docking algorithms. Okay, for example, chem score, glide score. But one of the limitation is non-versatile because it is dependent, at least the coefficient is dependent on the experimental data set. So if there is no experimental data set available for a specific interactions, then the scoring the score will not be that accurate. Okay. Now, knowledge-based scoring function, it is entirely dependent upon the experimentally determined values. Now, these are statistically derived principles. Statistically derived means whatever principle of interatomic, for example, what are all the interactions that can happen in nature and reality, it's available in the experimental data sets, experimentally determined crystal structures. For example, if there is a hydrogen bond donor, there will be a hydrogen bond acceptor. Now, these are preferential interactions. Now, all these information gained from the experimental data will be used to calculate this score, the score knowledge-based scores. Okay, and it employs simple interactions, and it is also dependent, like empirical scoring function. It is also dependent upon the information available in the pre-existing database, which means that experimental information is required for accurate formulation of this score. Okay. Now, other than that, now example for a knowledge-based score is drug score and potential of mean force. Okay. Now, there are also consensus scoring, which combines information between two different scoring schemes. For example, knowledge-based and empirical, or force field-based and empirical. One such example is X score, which combines the function of potential mean force, chem score, and potential mean force with flux X. So this now this, although may be efficient sometimes, it is sometimes difficult to correlate to two different because they may be collinear in nature. They may represent the same property. Okay. Now, what are all the strengths and limitations of molecular docking? Now, most of the docking softwares available either commercially or academic free versions have been shown or have been proven to predict protein bound conformation with the accuracy, which means that the RMS deviation is around 1.5 to 2 Angstrom, which is quite good. 70 to 80% is success rate. They are able to reproduce the experimentally determined structures or experimentally determined protein ligand complexes with this much accuracy. Okay, but scoring function is one of the major limitations because it is quite a complex. Macromolecular recognition is a complex process, but we have simplified the energy terms used in the scoring function, and we also assume a lot of things. So that leads to some errors in the scoring function. And other than that, most of the docking softwares do not consider, not most of them, almost all, except if you are not using molecular dynamics or something, do not consider solvation effects. And also the accuracy of the docking method is also dependent upon the quality of crystallographic data, which means that high resolution crystal structures are required for getting accurate results. Other than that, since several of these docking algorithms uses different search methodology, so it is not, although that you will find several research papers which compares different docking algorithm, it will be like comparing apples with oranges. But one way to increase your predictive accuracy of docking method is to use more than one search algorithm to finalize your ligands for synthesis and evaluation. Now, this is one example which we have carried out in our lab. In basically, we have repositioned approved drug as ABC, adenosine triphosphate binding cassette protein transporter. Now, this is a transporter protein which is involved in the multi-drug resistance in cancer. Now, because ABC transporters, for example, there are two main types. One is P glycoprotein or PGP, and there is another breast cancer resistant protein or ABCG2. Now, they are involved in the development of multi-drug resistance in cancer because they can efflux the drugs. They will not allow the drug to build up cytotoxic concentration inside the cancer cell. Now, what we have basically done is we have used a software called Schrodinger. And we have screened the drug bank database, and we have used a custom filter to filter out those compounds with inorganic functional groups or inorganic metal atoms. And the reduced set of drug molecules were screened through a 3-step docking protocol, which involves high throughput virtual screening. This is a rough docking protocol, standard precision docking, and XP docking. And we found some high scoring ligands, and we did some in vitro assays. Now, we have identified 4 different ligands. Now, basically, these are antiviral drugs, and one is atorvastatin, and another is telmisartan. These are sartans. All these were identified to be active against ABCG2. Now, this is the binding force of telmisartan. Now, this is the binding force, and this is the 2-dimensional diagram. Now, this transporter has a transmembrane domain, which is the active site. Although no co-complex ligand is available, still our docking was accurate. Now, our docking methodology and the results were validated by numerous publications. Now, this is one publication where we have repurposed dopamine D23 receptor partial agonist as a ABCG2 mediator BCRP protein modulator in cancer. And these are the sources and references of